This week on The Travel Detective, the U.S. State Department has issued advisories and warnings for Americans traveling to the Dominican Republic. In my book, that may be painting with too broad a brush. And to prove the point, I went down to the Dominican Republic, and I'll show you what I found. That's our cover story. Plus, many of us have explored destinations on two wheels. But how would you like to do it for a much longer distance and at your own pace? Welcome to the brave new world of electric bikes. And then, from Poland to Portugal, Florence to Melbourne, I'll give you a rundown of some of my favorite and surprising food markets around the world. I'm Peter Greenberg. That story and more on this edition of The Travel Detective. So what comes to mind when you think about the Dominican Republic, if you think about it at all? The sun, the beach, a pina colada or two, you know, the usual suspects. Or in more recent times, personal safety and crime. You know, the usual misleading stereotypes. I've been traveling safely to the Dominican Republic for the last 30 years, and I can tell you, the beach is great, but for me, the true experience happens when you go into the neighborhoods. You hang out with the locals, the people who actually live and work here, for a great and true experience. So let me share with you my hidden gems of the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is located in the Caribbean, on the island of Hispaniola, and it shares the western third of that island with the Republic of Haiti. It's bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the north and the Caribbean Sea to the south, with about 800 miles of coastline. The island is geographically diverse, with over 200 beaches, along with rainforest, savanna, and mountains. For thousands of years, it was peacefully inhabited by the Arawak-speaking Taino tribe, who arrived there about 10,000 BC. But in 1492, Christopher Columbus arrived on the Santa Maria and claimed the island for Spain. And the arrival of the Europeans spelled the end for the Tainos, who were all but exterminated by war and then disease. The next several hundred years were marked by invasion, coups, and uprisings, until the country finally achieved independence in 1865. And today, the Dominican Republic is consistently ranked as one of the most visited islands in the Caribbean. But there are still lots of places that most visitors never see, and other more well-known spots that you can visit, but without the crowds, if you know when and how to go. Like Montana Redonda, in the northeastern part of the island, in the town of Miches. Just be forewarned that when you get there, it's a pretty adventurous ride up a narrow and bumpy dirt road to the top. But you'll be rewarded with 360-degree views when you get there. But here's the trick. Make sure you get there very early if you want to avoid the crowds. And you'll be happy you did, because then you'll have the place almost all to yourself. About an hour south of Montana Redonda, just outside Punta Cana, is Macao Beach. It's a totally laid-back place with a bohemian vibe. And it's also home to the Macao Surf Camp. So if learning to surf is on your bucket list, this is definitely the place to do it.
The surfing here in Punta Cana is not well known, but Macao Beach is one of the best beaches to learn to surf. Basically because we have 6 different breaks for different levels of experience. And it's also shallow for beginners. It's a sandy bottom, clear water, clear and warm water, all year.
And even if you don't want to hit the waves, you can grab a great drink, order up some lunch from one of the beachside restaurants, and spend the afternoon here just hanging with the locals. But if you're looking for something just a little more exciting, then head back to Punta Cana, to the Bavaro Adventure Park. It's the only one of its kind in the Caribbean. This 33-acre eco-friendly park has all kinds of things to get your adrenaline pumping. They've got a climbing garden, a BMX track, and zip lines, among other thrill-seeking activities. But I like to come here for the ATVs. There are miles of trails in and around the park, but I gotta warn you, it's pretty bumpy, as you'd expect from a dirt trail. But if you ride about a half an hour from the park to the eastern end of the island, you'll reach the water. Be sure to hop off the ATV and take some time to see where the Atlantic meets the Caribbean. It's not exactly a secret that some of the best cigars in the world are made in the Dominican Republic. But they're also the largest producer in the world, making more than Cuba and Honduras combined. And in the resort town of Punta Cana, there's a small boutique operation that's worth a visit. The Don Lucas Cigar Factory has been in operation since 1992, producing 14 sizes of cigars in 5 different strengths, all in limited numbers. And the cool thing is, if you just call them before you come, they'll let you roll your own cigar. Team leader Kelman Nakor gave me a walkthrough of the Don Lucas facilities.
All right.
And then to where the real action was taking place.
So tell me what I'm doing.
You're gonna wrap it.
So I take this?
Yeah, you take that.
That's the tobacco leaf.
Exactly.
And I do that, right?
Do that. Mr. Christopher, he will help you.
Christopher, whose grandmother taught him to make cigars when he was just 7 years old, showed me how to cut the leaf with a special knife called a chaveta.
And what do I do?
Cut this way.
This way.
Cut that way. Like that. You look, I think, like you've done this before.
Look at that.
In your other life, you were a cigar roller. Now you grab the cigar which is already pressed.
Just keep rubbing.
Yeah. And then no. With one hand.
One hand.
And then this one, you're gonna use it to stretch the leaf.
Ah, so stretch the leaf.
Yeah.
There's rolling, and stretching, and more rolling, and more stretching. And then it came time to glue the ends.
You did it with the wrong hand. You were supposed to grab the glue with the right hand, and then just rub it.
Well, where were you when I needed you? Okay, one hand here, and all right. Not bad, huh?
Not bad.
Okay, so this
No,
one
it
goes
looks-
over there,
It looks exactly the same as the one that he made.
so they'll never know that I did it.
They won't. They
Good,
won't.
good. Quality control is my life, you know that.
Yeah.
All right, so now, you're smoking. You're smoking.
Yes.
Where's my cigar?
And it's going on.
Not bad. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
If cigars aren't your thing, guess what? This place is still worth a visit because this family company has decided to multitask, and inside this room, 7 different kinds of chocolate. But no chocolate cigars. In my book, the best way to see any destination, and that includes the Dominican Republic, is from a completely different perspective. And how do you do that? You just got to know who to ask. And in my case, I asked the guys who actually know everything. And the guys who know everything, they're the firefighters. They know a city or town better than just about anyone because they have to. It can literally be a matter of life or death. They've been in everybody's hotel, everybody's restaurant, everybody's house. And in the city of Higüey, it's no exception. If you want to see the way that real Dominicans live, this is the place to come. Many of the people who work in the nearby Punta Cana resorts live here. So it's filled with mom and pop shops and restaurants. Like this one, that happens to be a personal favorite of the fire chief. And there's the market. where you'll find local shopping for produce and fresh meat. But it's also a gathering place for a friendly game of dominoes. And because the DR has one of the largest Catholic populations in the Caribbean, Higüey is also home to an iconic basilica, which Pope John Paul II visited on 3 separate occasions. And if you get lucky, you may catch a local dance troupe performing, with the church as an impressive backdrop. But there's another religion of sorts in the Dominican Republic. It's baseball. It's an absolute obsession, and the country's love and passion for the sport can never be underestimated, nor can the sport's contribution. In 2019, the DR had the highest concentration of players from outside the United States in Major League Baseball. And in the history of the majors, there have been well over 700 Dominican players, including 3 Hall of Famers. Raymond Abreu, the general manager of the Toros del Este, knows a thing or two about the country's love of the game.
Baseball in the Dominican Republic is so much passion. I mean, people eat, drink, sleep baseball. When we hire guys from the United States, they come out here and they actually thank us for hiring them because they say they never had so much fun.
Guys like American pitcher Tim Peterson, who's been playing in the Dominican Winter League for the past couple of years.
You were with the Mets for a long time.
Yep, 8 years.
8 years. And then here you are in the Dominican Republic.
Yep,
You like it down here?
love it.
Why?
Beautiful country, nice people, baseball. Great weather, the beach, everything.
And then baseball.
And then baseball, yeah.
What about the Dominican Republic and baseball itself?
That's what I think of when I think Dominican, is baseball, you know? Playing with a lot of the guys that are coming from here, just a lot of talent coming out of the Dominican.
Not only can you come out here and see current and future major leaguers, but you can also do it for a fraction of what it costs back in the States.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen, all for free. No subscription required.
You can come out here and just watch 9 innings of baseball for less than $20. Mom and dad can come out here, and today we have Kids Day, which they come in free and they enjoy the game.
And speaking of kids, this big kid jumped at the chance to get on the field for a little batting practice.
All right. Did I do okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Did I make the team?
Yeah, you make it for tonight.
You are such a liar.
And then a few throwing drills. And I also had a chance to meet with some legends, like the Toros pitching coach, former big leaguer Phil Reagan.
What is it about baseball in the Dominican Republic? Because if you take a look at it, 25% of all the MLB players are from the Dominican Republic.
Well, I think is a quick way for the kids to be something and make something of themselves and provide for their family is through baseball.
So do I get a chance to start tonight?
Well, I told you I needed a left-hander, and I watched it throw, and I'm going to see you one more time before I give you the uniform.
Well, I didn't get to start, but I did get an invitation to throw out the first pitch. So, could I hit? Yeah.
Nice, Peter. Wow.
Could I throw? Sure. Could I pitch? Not so much.
If you understand baseball, then you might find it more exciting to watch and listen in Spanish. And in case you're wondering, the Toros won the game.
5-0.
seeing any destination on two wheels is not exactly a news bulletin. There are scooters, there are Segways, and of course, there are bicycles. But there's been an explosion in e-bikes, or electrically assisted bikes. You get to spend a lot longer time on them, you get to go much farther, and guess what? You can go faster.
A growing number of tour operators are offering the e-bikes. Compared to an organized bus tour, e-bikes allow people to go on an adventure at their own pace. In Toronto, a company called Amigo Bikes takes you on a 5-hour tour with stops along the way at the CN Tower and the city's waterfront. In Europe, the e-bike has totally changed the way you experience some of their countries. The tour group Eurobike has amazing itineraries, such as in Italy for a week-long trek from Venice to Florence. Grasshopper Adventures is the first to offer e-bikes as a tour option in Asia. One of their most popular is a 10-day trip exploring Buddhist monasteries and statues on the Japanese island of Shikoku. And then, based in Southern California, home of the car culture, there's Pedego, which offers great half-day, full-day, or weekend e-bike experiences, domestically, even internationally. Don DiCostanzo is not only CEO, but also an avid biker. He claims design and even better battery technology have combined to create a durable, enjoyable travel opportunity.
I think a confluence of factors came together. Lithium batteries were the real turning point. Until we had lithium batteries, the lead acid batteries just couldn't cut it. And now they're compact, they're lightweight, and they'll take you 50 to 100 miles on a charge.
And they'll take anybody.
Exactly. Well, that's what the baby boomers are the biggest customers of these, and they're getting electric bikes because they find out they can go out and have fun, and they don't have to worry about that hill and that headwind on the way home.
Actually, they're also quite lazy. They don't want to pedal at all.
We don't call them that. We call them that they're looking, it's exercise disguised as fun. So there's actually studies out there that show that you get more exercise riding an electric bike than you would a regular bike because you're going to ride it more often, you're going to ride it further.
Longer. You ride longer.
Exactly.
In my case, DiCostanzo gave me an e-bike tour of Corona del Mar and Newport Beach. My tour lasted about 3 hours, but it could have easily extended to 2 days. Which brings up the inevitable question about cost. The cost of an e-bike tour can range dramatically, depending on the city you're in, the number of days, the type of e-bike, how many miles you're going, plus meals and hotels. A day tour of Toronto with Amigo Bikes is $99. A week-long Eurobike tour from Venice to Florence is just over $1,000. Then the 10-day Grasshopper Adventures tour in Shikoku, nearly $5,500, while the Pedego one-day tour of Corona del Mar and Newport Beach is a more comfortable $147.
One last piece of advice. If you're like me, once you get on one of these things, tough to get off. So if you're going to take the long distance route, do what I do. Bring some extra power.
And after the experience, there's a good chance you may want to buy one of these for yourself. One piece of caution, they're not cheap. An e-bike can range anywhere between $1,900 and $5,500, not including the lock or locks you'll need when you park it.
A number of U.S. states, including California, Washington, and right here in Colorado, have legalized marijuana for recreational use. Now, for some travelers, that could be a bonus if they're coming to those states, but it could also be a trap.
Currently, 47 out of the 50 U.S. states and the District of Columbia allow marijuana for some form of medicinal purposes. 11 states, plus Washington, D.C., allow it for recreational use. But under federal law, it's still illegal.
So while you may think you're safer smoking pot where it's legal, think again before you try to bring it home. If you're driving across state lines, then it becomes a federal case, or at the very least, under the jurisdiction of the state you enter. This means you could be pulled over and charged by local authorities, or even worse, you could be charged with federal drug trafficking by the Drug Enforcement Administration. As for boarding planes with weed, you'll have to keep up with the latest state rules. And if you're coming back to the U.S. from Canada, which has very relaxed marijuana rules, the Canadians have now posted these signs at the departure gates at the airport. In 2018, Los Angeles' airport police department began allowing passengers to travel through LAX with up to 28.5 grams of marijuana and 8 grams of concentrated marijuana. And while you may be flying high after getting through security at LAX, remember that once again, when your plane lands, you're subject to local laws, even if you carry a medical license.
Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not endorsing pot smoking, but I am endorsing common sense. If you want to smoke pot in a state that's legalized marijuana, do it only in that state. Cross state lines with it, you could find yourself in jail. One of the best parts of traveling the world is trying the local food that most major cities are now bringing together in giant food halls. You might have heard about Markthal in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands. Of course, there's Harrods in London and Mercato Central in Florence. But for me, I have some special country and city favorites I never miss every time I travel there. La Boqueria is one of Barcelona's top landmarks, with an entrance to the market from Las Ramblas. Its origins date back to the 1200s. The metal roof was only added last century. It has over 200 vendors offering a staggering variety of local and international food. Once inside, I bypass all the food stalls. Why? I don't come here to buy food, I come here to eat. I come to this place, Bar Central. I've been coming for like 20 years. Now you may notice only about 23 stools here, and there's the line. So be prepared to wait. You stand, you hover, you wait some more, and then you eat really well. In Lisbon, Time Out Portugal created the concept of bringing the best of the city under one roof with Time Out Market Lisboa. You'll quickly notice the crowded tables, lobster and crabs still in their tanks, and colorful pastries. If you're looking at it by the numbers, you'll find 24 restaurants, 8 bars, 4 shops, and get this, 3 Michelin star chefs. It's not only a place for foodies. Time Out Portugal also features live concerts for up to 900 people. My personal favorite, Pop Sorta. It's located above the food hall, and you don't just go there for the food, which is pretty good. You go there to order its signature dessert, chocolate mousse. And at Pop Sorta, be prepared to be overwhelmed by the mousse. The portions are ginormous. Hala Kozyki is Warsaw's foodie market and the only food market hall in Poland. Originally built at the turn of the last century, it was commonly known as the People's Bazaar. Kozyki literally translates to basket, as this was the original site of a farm and a market. Today you'll see a well-lit, modern food market with 18 different dining options that feature international cuisines and a hotspot bar that's right in the middle of the hall. And if you're looking for a market to eat and shop in, there's the Queen Victoria Market in Melbourne. This is the largest open-air market in the Southern Hemisphere. In fact, it's been around since 1878. And before that, somewhat ironically, it was Melbourne's first official cemetery. And ever since then, people have been dying to get here. Ready? Okay, I'm sorry, I had to say it. But you can get anything you want here, from artwork to clothing to handicrafts to jewelry to wigs to food. And if you absolutely have to have one, you're on your own. You can find yourself a souvenir here, like leather belts, Uggs, or boomerangs. And you can also shop like the locals for groceries. Indeed, you can find just about anything you want at the Victoria Market. Now, not that you're in the mood for eggs, but if you want some, have you come to the right place? Take a look. Free-range eggs, followed by more free-range eggs. Different free-range eggs, 50 different varieties of free-range eggs, and let's not forget, Kangaroo Island free-range eggs. After all, you're in Australia. Talk about one-stop shopping all around the world. That does it for this week. I'll see you next time on another edition of The Travel Detective.